What else is there to do?
I wasn't going to do much today anyway. I was going to hang out with my Ford Escort.
Oh, see, there you go.
Okay, all right, let's see here. All right, hi people, hi everybody. I'm Dane. That's your host. We're starting this right here. So bear with me while I do all the technical stuff. Hold on, people, and hi people. Okay, that's your host. We're starting this. Here we go. Bear with me while I do all the technical stuff here, and here we go. Just bear with me a little bit. Okay. I got this. Why, there's a repeating here. I see an echo kind of thing happening here. All right. I'm going to get out and we'll soon be okay. I got this. Alrighty. Let's see. I see an echo kind of thing happening here. All right. Sorry. Okay. And please, yeah, please excuse me. Yeah, please excuse me. Okay, got the sorry, the technical. I was posting all the links and stuff. So yeah. Oh, and please forgive me, audience, if I accidentally. I'm not good with the Zoom controls, so please forgive me if I accidentally turn off the power grid in your neighborhood again. Yeah, just. So welcome to the funny first Friday here at we're here every funny first Friday, that is, of the month. And I'm Danny, it's your host. We got a lineup of comedians, very funny people from all over the country. And sometimes it's international, and sometimes even from Mars, so believe it or not. And so anyway, thanks for coming out here. Okay, we'll start the show. Anything else I was going to mention here? Yeah, so let me see, just fix some of the technical stuff. And what's going on? Oh, hey, buddy, can you close the microwave? Just shut the door on the microwave oven. Thank you. Okay, all right. Okay.
I like the yellow.
Yeah, it's too bright. Yeah, that microwave is too strong also. So anyway, yeah, cool. Yeah, hi, I'm Danny Etchie, and hey, I'll start off the show, and thank you. Welcome here at the Funny Fest First Friday. Okay, I'm repeating, so we'll get all the technical stuff, all the things getting smoothed out as while I'm doing this. All right. Okay, so yeah, I'm Danny Etchie. A little bit about myself. Let's see. Well, I don't know how old I am. Because my parents lost my birth certificate when they put me in the basket in the river, but I do remember the name of the river. It was Niagara Falls. So yeah, and I'm here in San Francisco. Hey, by the way, all our we have all our buses here in San Francisco are now equipped with artificial intelligence. Although the last bus I rode on actually broke down and cried. Yeah, I don't think they got an artificial intelligence thing going on that well yet, because they got these new, they got these self-driving cars, but they found there's a computer glitch with that. They found out that there's a couple people in the car having an argument, and one guy tells the other guy to go to hell. The car will drive right off the cliff. So fix that. Yep. So let's see a little bit. Yeah. So sometimes I get so lonely for a hug. I just want a hug. So I go to a restaurant and I pretend that I'm choking. Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah. My favorite diner. They always help me out. Anyway, my favorite diner is called in my neighborhood is called Mama's Diner, and they always brag it's just like Mother used to make. The only problem is every few minutes the cook comes over to your table and complains about your father. And you might find dentures in your meatloaf. So, yeah. By the way, hey, how can you tell if someone's a vegan? Well, whenever they open their mouth, you can hear their stomach crying.
Oh.
So, and the other day I was cooking chicken in the microwave, and all of a sudden, as soon as I press a button, the chicken just starts sparking. So I take the chicken out, and the container's all plastic. I couldn't figure it out. So I'll take. Yeah, I notice there's a noise there. I'll take care of that. I think later I'll fix that out after I'm done. Anyway, so I took the chicken out of the microwave. I took it apart. And I couldn't believe it. It actually had an artificial hip, and a metal plate in its head. So, yeah, from now on, I'm going back to Tyson chicken instead of Mike Tyson chicken. Or I changed my food deliveries. I switched to Imperfect Foods because Indecent Foods was only delivering cucumbers. Yeah, and I've been working out. I've been working out. I've been taking some karate actually, and I recently earned the plaid belt in karate. The plaid belt stands for. Can't we just talk this over some coffee? I'll buy. Great. So, also, I don't like spiders because, when I was a kid, big spider came to our home and stole the family car. I really don't like spiders. Let's see. The pandemic stuff. They tell us we should wash our hands for as long as it takes us to sing "Happy Birthday," but I prefer to be a little more careful. So I sing "Stairway to Heaven." People get mad at me, but I recently also got the booster shot, and I got $5 also. What happened was I had a bet with some of the nurses there, and they the bet was that I wouldn't take a shot in the eye, and I won. So $5. So my Aunt Louise was really excited. The other day she says, "Hey, I got the Johnson," and I said, "Oh, you got a vaccine?" And she said, "No." Yep. Anyway, let's see. I miss going to the comic book convention. I'm a big comic book fan, and I remember a couple of years ago when I went to the last comic book convention, and the place was so crowded. I didn't want to wait all day in line to get an autograph, so I came up with an idea. I went up to the front door and I yelled, "Hey, Eugene, your mother's here to pick you up." And the whole place cleared out. Yep. The only person left there was this woman dressed up as Wonder Woman. So I go up to her and say, "Hey there, Wonder Woman, want to come over to my place and check out my comic book collection? I got a lot of issues." And she said, "Oh."
That's a good singer.
Yeah, she said, "Get lost, you nerd." And I told her, "I can't get lost because I got my address written in my underwear, so there." Yeah. So you see this survey on the news? It said that 62% of America's workers are having sexual relationships with someone else in the same workplace. So it got me thinking, man, I need to get a job. And I also recently got I haven't a car, but I recently finally got myself a car. I got me a real man's car. I got me a big old '79 Oldsmobile. It gets an estimated, I don't care, miles per gallon. And its hood ornament is a smart car. So I took my car for a car wash and a Brazilian wax. And when I got my car back, all the carpets were gone. Brazilian wax. Yep. And I told my friend the other day that I said, I wish I was a bird. He says, "Oh, so you can fly?" I says, "No, because I like birdseed. I can eat birdseed." Yep. And let's see what else is. I was watching more TV and everything. I saw this movie with an actress with a strange name, Busy Phillips. Anybody hear of Busy Phillips? Yeah, probably her father named her that. Because in case someone like me goes up to her and says, "Hey, hi, I'm Danny," and she say, "I'm busy." Oh, okay. And I've been binge watching The Whistleblower. You can catch it on Pornhub. Yeah. So let's see. Other stuff. Let's say. Oh, okay. People tell me, "Hey, Danny, you're always smiling. You're happy. Nothing bothers you. You do drugs. Do you drink alcohol?" And I go, "No, nothing like that. I rely on something more natural. It's called denial." Yeah, denial gets a bad rap, but denial is what helps us avoid reality while still being a contributing member of society. Okay, and one more. Okay, let's see. Before I go now, I'm going to. By the way, my father actually was a peaceful man. He would always beat me with an olive branch. Okay, so anyway, let me finish off with a little bit of music. Play a couple of songs. How about this one? You already see we got number 2 pencil. Okay. Okay, one more. The can. Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Oh, I forgot all this time to put the spotlight on myself. I always forget that. But okay, but as we will go on to your next comedian, I will spotlight him. And he's a very funny guy, all the way from the East Coast. I had him on my shows before, and happy to have him here again tonight. Let's hear for Bruce Lipsky, everybody. Let's give for Bruce.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bruce Lipsky reporting from Floral Park, Long Island. Thank you, Danny. Yeah. I just got a call from my 87-year-old dad. He said, Bruce, guess what? They just opened up a new comedy club in my neighborhood. I said, Dad, that's fantastic. What's it called? He said, Stand Up MRI. I said, Dad, did you check it out? He said, yeah, they wouldn't let me in. They didn't have a prescription. But I did call them up and I said, the good news is no cover charge, but there is a 2 copay minimum per person. I worry about my dad. So recently I had to take him to the hospital for some tests. So walking down the hallway and this technician is wheeling in with this machine with all these tubes and hoses. My father looks at him and says, Mister, you're not going to hook me up to that machine today, are you? The guy says, I hope not for your sake. It's a carpet cleaner. And I worry. I worry about going to turn into my father. My birthday month is this month. I'm going to turn 66. I looked in the mirror. Thank you very much. Thank you. I looked in the mirror the other day. I look like a rusted old 56 Buick. This body is shot, totally out of alignment. My rear end is making funny sounds. My hoses are leaking. And my ball joints have all dried out. I said, I better get Mako. Mako says, oh no, you better get Medicare. I remember in my house when we used to have a leak, I called my plumber. Now I call my urologist. And he's $50 cheaper. Back in the day, I was into disco dancing. I used to go to Studio 54 in New York City. I'd get on that dance floor and go bust a move. I'm afraid to take my wife dancing now. I may bust a hip. And my wife said to me the other day, Bruce, let's get down tonight. I don't mind getting down, but how the hell am I going to get up? And I'm starting to forget things. I swear my foam mattress has a better memory than I do. I know way back when I used to have a full head of hair. I used to use a product to keep it stiff called Vitalis. Now, if I want to keep things stiff, I use Cialis. I was also into photography. I was a big photography buff. I remember developing my film using my Polaroid. But age 65 right now, the only thing I'm developing are hemorrhoids. But when you get older, you got to stay in shape. So I started an exercise program, but I only exercise late at night, really late at night, between the hours of 3 and 5 in the morning. I'm running sprints from the bedroom to the bathroom. My wife calls it my fleet of pee. I guess the good news is I got my time down under 6 seconds. Unfortunately, I only can hold my pee for 4.2. And my wife is a fitness nut. She takes goat yoga. She finds it very therapeutic and relaxing, especially when the goat jumps on her back and licks her ears. I said, wait a second. When I tried that last week, he slapped me, threw me out of the bedroom. And now you'll pay a goat to do it? She says, well, he has a better technique and fresher breath. And we've been together a long time, my wife and I. We just celebrated a milestone anniversary. 30 years of wedded bliss.
Woohoo!
No. Wedded blisters. Because all these years she's been rubbing me the wrong way, and I got the calluses to prove it.
No.
But before I met my wife, I actually dated a lot of people. I even dated a very famous TV weather person. No Goldberg, it wasn't Al Roker. But I remember the first time I got intimate, it was like a bad winter forecast. She was predicting 10 to 12. All she got was 2 to 4. Man, was she angry. Now I know why they name hurricanes after women. Well, my wife is a lovely, lovely woman, but she's been obsessed lately with this pandemic, buying everything on Amazon. We get so many packages delivered to the house, they just rezoned my front porch as a loading dock. I got boxes stacked up to the roof. I'm afraid to pull anything out. They may all fall down. It's like that game of Jenga. It's like I'm playing Jenga for giants. Constantly going from the front porch to the living room to the second floor, back and forth. I'm like a personal delivery monkey. She calls me her Amazon primate. And it was my birthday recently. She said, Bruce, what would you like? I said, how about a forklift? Maybe a weight belt and a bigger house. I have the only house in the block that has its own zip code. We're the only house in the block that has valet parking for the FedEx guys. But what really worried me the other day, I saw my wife painting in big letters in the driveway, reserved for UPS. But what's going on over here now? Then I think she's having an affair with the UPS guy, because every time he comes over, she's always bragging about how big his package is. And now she's only insisting on backdoor delivery. I know what Brown's doing for her, but what's he doing for me? And she handed me a box yesterday. She said, Bruce, I have a special present for you. I opened it up. There was brown shorts, construction boots, and a clipboard. Now, anytime I want to have sex, I got to sign for it. This is making my family life miserable. The only smiles in my house now are the ones in the cardboard boxes. But we do have a lovely relationship. We love doing things together. Broadway shows, nice dinners, the UPS guy. I can recall, as I said, my wife is so into so many different things. We had a cat for 23 years. 23 years. When this cat passed away, she only wanted to get a dog. She wanted to design a dog. She spent $6,000 on this dog. $6,000. And she carries this thing around like a Gucci handbag. Except a Gucci handbag only costs $3,000. And it doesn't need to be walked 6 times a day. And she dresses this dog in silk pajamas and a gold collar. And she's named him Fabio. Fabio. I don't call him Fabio. I call him Houdini. Because the 2 wags in his tail, he's made my sex life completely disappear. Now sex is just a grand illusion and without the handcuffs. You know how hard it is to perform when there's 4 legs, a panting wet tongue, and the smell of bad breath in your bed, and a dog? Thank you. My name is Bruce Lipsky. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Hey, Bruce.
Yeah.
Bruce, that's some love life there, Bruce. Yeah, so thank you, Bruce, for being on the show, sharing us about your life. Hey, Bruce, let's see, all the way from New York, right? All right, our next comedian from the Old Bay Area, very funny woman, very happy to have her here tonight. Let's give it up for Iris Spence and everybody.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hello, everyone. I'm Iris. I'm a recovering addict of new age bullshit. I used to be really into astrology when I was a kid, but now I'm not anymore. But if people talk about astrology, I Jones, like a heroin addict that's been sober for like 30 years, but they just like a fun drug story. Like if I'm walking down a dark alley and somebody's like, hey, what's your sign? I'm like, I shouldn't engage you, but I'm a Leo. And then they're like, well, you don't seem that much like a Leo. And then I'll be like, well, that's because my moon's in Virgo and my rising sign's in Gemini, just like Madonna. And then I start hoping someday I'll be like, I'm an Aquarius, water signs, woo. So I can be like, actually, Aquarius is an air sign, bitch. The thing that always snaps me out of it, though, are Scorpios. Because there's always that one Scorpio that's like, I'm a Scorpio, so like, I'm really sexual. And then you're like, fuck you, I'm really sexual too. And And then they're like, no, you don't get it. Like, I am really sexual. And then I start saying weird competitive shit. Like, well, I just came 3 times arguing with you about this. My kitchen is filled with all phallic produce. That cucumber 14H, you know, like, and they're always like, no, me. But like, everybody's sexual, okay? The most boring person here is probably like, I bet I'd be really good at porn. The shyest person in the room's like, you don't know the beast. You don't know the beast that's waiting to get out. It's like a kitten watching a bird in a tree, just I'm a single lady, and I just moved in with another single lady, which is nice because I was in this, like, my last roommates were a new couple, and they were in that honeymoon phase where everything they have in common is a revelation. Like, they were making breakfast. He was cutting vegetables. He goes, this knife is nice and sharp. If there's one thing I hate, it's a dull knife. And she goes, oh my God, me too. I hate dull knives too. And I was like, really? You both hate dull knives? Imagine that. Imagine the 2 people on this planet who hate tools that have lost their proper functioning finally coming together in this crazy world. I figured out she moved him in because she went out of town and he just slept over still. Like, he came and walked her dog and then he just didn't leave. He like sat in our living room and listened to podcasts without headphones like a fucking monster. And then I woke up the next morning and went to the bathroom and the poop candle was lit. Who does that? Go back home and take a shit or stink the place up like the freeloading fuck you are. He thanked me for running the dishwasher like I was the one dirtying up dishes in the apartment that he pays for. And then the thing that really made me mad was he goes, hey, Iris, if you need me to leave so you can have like some privacy, let me know. But he said it in this way, like, we both know you're not fucking, so it's fine that I'm here all the time, right? Like, sitting around in my bathrobe, drinking gin and sobbing doesn't require privacy. I've been fired a lot for not sounding happy enough. I don't know if that's a surprise. This is just how I sound. I sound like a less effeminate, more suicidal Ben Stein. First time it happened, I waxed this woman's anus, which is what she was paying me to do. I wasn't her waitress, and I waxed her anus. But I feel like there's a special place in hell for somebody that puts their ass in your face and then complains to management about your demeanor, you know? Like, it'd be one thing if I burned it and sealed it shut. But she left with a beautiful pink hairless anus. She was just a bitch. And then I sold cheese at farmers markets. And I guess the guy that worked the booth before me was like this rock star cheese salesman. Because this little girl came up to me and she was like, you know why Chris was so good at his job? Because he acted really happy all the time. So I took it upon myself to tell this little bitch about life. I was like, well, some of us are Tiggers and some of us are Eeyores, okay? Someday you're going to bite into a chocolate-covered turd, and you know why? Because the person that sold it to you acted really happy. There's a reason they're called Happy Meals, you know? Some service jobs, you don't want the person acting happy. If you're getting a rape kit done, you don't want your nurse practitioner being like, oh my goodness, somebody had a rough night. Come on, let's have a smile. You know what you need to do, Debbie Downer? You need to watch some more cat videos. Maybe some meditation will take your mind off this petri dish that's never going to get tested. I hope I'm not bringing you down. I'm an atheist. I don't know if that's a surprise. I didn't realize how much of an atheist I was until I listened to this podcast, and it was about a couple and their child was dying of cancer. Wait for it. And the dad was up all night comforting his sick child. Nothing was working, so he decides to pray. And the child stops crying. And I knew I was an atheist because my reaction was, fuck this podcast. This better not be about the power of prayer. That baby better die. And then I was like, what's wrong with me? I would rather a baby die and fit my view of the world than have there be a God. Really? I need to learn some spiritual lessons. So I listened to the rest of that podcast. You guys know what happened?
What?
That baby died.
Oh,
Because you can't cure terminal cancer with prayer. It's just not going to happen. Don't get me wrong. I pray, when my bank account's low, I pray. If I'm late for work, I pray. If a cop's behind me, I pray. I'm not saying don't pray. I'm just saying diversify your tactics, like collect some yogurt lids, do a walkathon, major in a science. That's all I'm saying. I used to be a massage therapist. I used to hate to do prenatal massages because women would come in, they'd say the same thing. They'd be like, you know what spots to avoid, right? Because there's a spot on the foot that makes things descend according to the hard science behind massage, which means you're either going to shit your pants or you're going to miscarry or both. Don't you think if there was a spot on your body that could make you expel your unborn child, we would know about it? Like I would have looked that up in the 8th grade. We would have 15-year-old girls flipping through our bodies ourselves going, where's the Vulcan abortion pinch chapter? It would change the conversation in the pro-lifer household, You've been pinching it, haven't you? No, mother, I swear it was an accident. I'll be good, mother. Please don't make me wear the metal boots of shame, mother. And then you tempted a man with your dirty pillows and got rid of it, you dirty foot pincher. A guy decided he didn't want to date me based on the messiness of my car because he thought it meant my you-know-what smelled. Because he has a saying, dirty car, dirty you-know-what. Dirty car, dirty pussy. I'm trying to clean that joke up. And every time I try and clean it up, I forget how to do it. Anyway, I found out he'd only been with 3 women. I took stats in college, 3 ain't no kind of sample size. You need like 30 smelly pussied car driving women to test that theory. You need to do it over a period of time because we smell different from week to week. A freshly showered 9 a.m. pussy smells different from a lunchtime jog pussy, which in turn smells different from a 5 o'clock drive time pussy. You need some placebo pussy, you need to toss an onion in there, some deviled eggs or some black jelly beans. I know vaginas are dark, mysterious places. I get that, but they're a whole lot easier to clean than a car. By the way, this is my actual car. And see, it is actually messy. Good night, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Iris. Thanks for coming on your car. Thanks for showing us your car. That was Iris Spenson, showing that reality is not for happy people. Okay, well, all right then. Let's go for our next comedian funny person, all the way from Washington D.C.
Wow.
Let's give it up for Davine Kerr, everybody.
Hi.
hello. Thank you.
Spotlight on you. There you are. Okay.
All right, let me put it back at gallery view. Hold on. Hello, people from Caucasia. How you're all doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Wow. I love all your reactions to Pussy Pussy Talk, and now she's gone. All right. I guess she's washing her car. But I almost murdered my husband right before this show because he decided to update a software on my computer 5 minutes before my Zoom. And so nothing was working, and I mean, we did, in all fairness, we did have some computer problems. And don't you hate it when you call IT support and then the first question they ask is, is your computer plugged? That would be like if a restaurant said, did you eat before coming to the restaurant? Anyways, all right, you guys are all like doing other things. Great, supportive room. We just had a snowstorm and I'm a little bummed because I miss bikini season. I love wearing a bikini. It's lingerie you can pee through. The problem is, every time I order one online, people always like, there's always a question that says like, would you like a cover up? I'm like, slut shaming much? I don't know why they call it a cover up. They should just call it a bikini dress or something. Anyways, I've been stressed out like most of you guys, like during the pandemic, and I like to go on a long drive, right? But then I remember there's morons out there. And I had this huge KFC craving and I drove really fast and I hit the bird on my way and I killed the bird. And I was like, oh my God, I feel so bad. That poor bird just died. And then I ate a huge bucket of chicken just to soothe my poor soul. And then there's this guy that was tailgating me and I was like, oh, what a dick, So as a good Buddhist, I hit the brakes and slowed everything down. And as a good Christian, he told me to go to hell. Anyways, I have 2 kids. Surprised they're Asian also. My oldest name, we named him Liam because we're from the Irish part of Cambodia. And he's 13 years old now. And even his voice sounds like acne. And I don't know. They had a snow day today, even though we're doing remote schooling, So we're doing online school, but they had a day off because there was snow outside. I didn't tell you guys, obviously, by looking at me, you can all tell that I'm French Canadian, right? Yeah, if we had to close down anything because of the snow, I mean, there would be no economy. But anyways, let's change topic because I don't want to talk about the economy and Americans. Anyways, I've been married for 20 years and thank you for assuming that we're happy. And a lot of people look at us and always say like, yes, they're so cute, you're like 2 peas inside a pod. And I'm like, have you ever seen only 2 peas in a pod? There's at least 5 peas in a pod. Peas are polyamorous. But we're done having kids though. My husband Snip, he's all juice no pulp. And always see guys cringe when I talk about the vasectomy. And I want to say, this is my PD, my PSA is, don't worry, a seedless grape is still a grape. You're still very, very manly, And plus you can always reverse your vasectomy, just like a mortgage, right? And and people always say like, you have 2 boys though, don't you want a little girl? Little girls are so cute, you're missing out. And I'm like, that's true. I always wanted to breastfeed a little girl, have people call us lesbians. I mean, I do have a little thing for Taylor Swift, I do have a crush on her. I mean, I always wish I could scissor her and make paper snowflakes. Anyways. Yep, this is nice talking into the void of Zoom. This is horrible. I miss live comedy. The only thing I don't miss is bringing my poopy shoes. I don't know if you guys have poopy shoes. The thing is, I like to wear stilettos on the stage, but the problem is if I need to take a dump before the show, then they would know it was me, right? So I have to bring an extra pair of shoes. So that way when I take a dump and then I go on the stage, they can't tell it was, anyways, yeah, TMI. Before the pandemic, I mean, I know why people do it too, but this typically Asian household, when anybody comes to your house, you tell them like, can you please take off your shoes? But now with the pandemic, anybody that comes to my door now will say, can you please take off all your clothes? Because there's no way anybody bring their nasty outside clothes inside my house. So the cleaning crew cleaned up my whole house naked. It was great. Maria was hot. Okay, that was racist. I'm sorry. But her name is Maria. I mean, how's it racist if I state a fact? Anyways, let me change it again. I have problems sleeping too because, pandemic anxiety and all. And I nap a lot during the day to fight depression. And then at night, I try to sleep. And all I can think about is reminiscing about that amazing nap I had earlier that day, you know, and I'm like, oh, man, a few hours ago, I slept so well. And don't you hate it when your arm falls asleep before you do? I just don't know how it does it. You know, I'm like, how did you do it, arm? Like, you don't even, did you like do like some deep breathing? You don't even have a nose, you know? But thankfully the other arm had insomnia. So, okay, too absurd for you guys, I guess. Speaking of absurdity, you know, a lot of people blame weird things in their lives. Like they blame, for example, there's my neighbor. She always says like, I'm sorry, I'm moody. You know, it's because of the full moon. You know, like every time the moon is full, it affects my mood. And I'm like, bitch, when you go to space, the moon is always full. It really depends on where you are on Earth. But, you know, technically, you know, you're all worried about flat earthers, but how about half mooners, you know? Anyways, I've been seeing on Instagram a lot of tomahawk steaks. It's a real big thing now. It's a really fancy steak that looks like the chicken lollipop of beef. It's all bone and no barely any meat. And it's like an average, hold on, okay, good. It ranges an average like between $300 to $600 for a steak. And I'm like, why is it so expensive? Why are tomahawks so expensive? They better donate the proceeds to the Native Americans. You know? Anyways, I did tell you guys I was married for 20 years. I love bombing in front of people who look at porn at the same time I'm telling my jokes. You know, I've been with my husband for 20 years. And when we watch TV, every time he looks uncomfortable, I just reach inside his pants and move his balls to the side and scream, "Free Tibet." Oh, now I got their attention. All right. Anyways, people tell me random things all the time. Like, you don't look your age. Once they find out how old I am. And I'm like, okay, you don't look your age, Davine. I'm like, you don't look your intelligence. I don't know why people assume I want to look younger, right? Like every time an older person wants to look younger, that's when you can tell that they're old. Like plastic surgeries, for example, they're always botched, right? You know why? Because plastic surgeons don't have any art degree. I don't know why you would let somebody who has zero knowledge in aesthetics work on your face, right? It's just, I just don't understand that. I mean, all doctors have terrible handwriting, and then I wouldn't never go back in time. You know, I would never go back in my teenage years because I was covered in zits and I couldn't squirt. But I tried to, you know, I tried to keep my sanity and I see 1 minute. Thank you. I try to take some walks outside, and I just enjoy watching matching couples. They fascinate me, especially when they're both ugly. And I just love watching rich people pick up dog poop all day. It's just the beautiful irony, you know. And I think I would like to get a dog one day, but I never could find that dog that matches my face perfectly. Anyways, I have a lot of friends who are dating, and they're all like excited about their boyfriend. They're like, he tells me so many sweet things. You know, he says, "You're so cute. Your nose crinkle every time you smile." I'm like, does he tell you you're so cute every time you yawn, your eyes get watery? I don't know why people settle for generic compliments. You know, my husband, when he wants to compliment me, he'll say like, "I really love how your little mole shivers every time I get too close to your butt." I mean, that way I know it's special. It's really just for me. It's only he knows that. Well, now you guys do too. But anyways, that is all. I think I'm gonna end it on this note. Happy New Year once again, and thank you for not laughing.
Thank you, Davine. Yeah, it's okay. We it's different on Zoom, but there are some live shows out there, and but I don't know. The way things are going, might be going back to Zoom everything again. We'll see. Hopefully not.
Yep.
We'll see. So thanks, Davine, and thanks for the beauty tips also. So all right, our next comedian, right here from the San Francisco Bay Area, a very funny woman. Haven't been performing with her many years, known her many years, and very funny woman. Let's give it for Gail Jones. Gail Jones, everybody.
Hi. I hate computers. And when it's said here, "You are now streaming," I don't know what the heck that is. I'm just not of this new generation. I guess you can tell that. I'm at the old folks' home in what they call the golden years. What a crock of shit that is. You have all these body changes when you're old. Like my bra wonders where my nipples went. So now I wear my bra for a belt because that's where my nipples went. If I hear that word golden years one more time on television, I'm going to shoot the screen. Just like Elvis used to do. You know, it used to be that when I'd pee just a little bit before my aneurysm, I'd do that when I laughed or coughed. But since my open heart surgery, when I cough or laugh, I fart. Not very nice. I had a girlfriend, her name was Audrey. We used to go to the movies together, and she would pass right in front of me going the whole time. In Louisiana, they call that crop dusting. I learned a lot in Louisiana. Those people are different because they love gas guzzling SUVs. They love cigarettes and they love their dogs. Like I went into this house and they had 3 long, nice leather sofas. And the dogs were on the sofas and the people were on the floor. I mean, something's loose over there, if you ask me, but I hope none of you are from Louisiana. Speaking of the South, I was raised and born in Alabama, raised in Tennessee and Georgia. So that makes me a Southern belle. Ding dong. Yep. That's short on the ding and long on the dong. I guess you've probably heard of Southern hospitality, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll tell you how that worked for me. Gail, come on in, honey. Sit down, take a load off, and we'll get you some iced tea. Then they'd go in the kitchen and talk shit about you. That's what I think of Southern hospitality. And when I was 21 and in college and looking for an apartment, I knocked on this big house and this old lady like me came to the door and said, yes. And I said, I'd like to rent one of your rooms I read about in the paper. And she said, I don't rent to single women or Negroes. But her husband was real excited about maybe taking a role in the back of his truck. Bunch of hypocrites. And growing up there, nobody told us a word about sex, not one word. Even pregnant was talked about as PG, like we couldn't figure out what that meant. And my girlfriend, Sue, and I, we heard this word rubber, and we were trying to figure it out. And she said, I know what it is. It's what a guy wears when he has his period. Made perfect sense to me. The first time I had orgasm, I thought God was striking me with paralysis for having sex when I wasn't married. Mother, I hope you didn't hear that. And the first time I saw an erection, I said, my God, how are you doing that? You're defying gravity. Yeah. It was a great upbringing. And the women, they were so vain. My grandma was so vain that on her tombstone, she wrote, "How do I look?" Crazy bitch. So with all this background, I decided that I wanted to become a sex therapist, so that's what I did. And I have a Facebook page called Gail Jones Southern Sex Therapist Comedy. And it tells little tidbits about what I learned when I studied psychology and sex therapy. And you might want to read them because you might learn something. This has been a blast. I want to thank Danny for asking me to do this. And take care of yourself. And remember this: lack of orgasm leads to lack of arousal, which leads to lack of desire. Signing off. Good night.
Oh, good night. Thank you, Gail Jones. Up close and personal. Check out your Facebook page if we have any sex questions, I guess. So the Gail Jones. Alrighty, thanks, Gail. And now we go all the way 3,000 miles, all the way to New York. Another funny guy. Very happy having you here tonight. Let's give it up for Goldberg, everybody.
Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year. I hope your New Year is happy. I heard some really sad news this morning. Sidney Poitier died, unfortunately, but which made one angel turn to the other angel and have dinner tonight. I know what you're saying. You know, that's not Goldberg. That's not Goldberg the wrestler. No, this is Goldberg the wrestler. This is what Goldberg the wrestler looks like after 2 years in a goddamn pandemic. This is it. I don't know. They said flatten the curve. I had bad hearing. I thought they said fatten the curve. I've been eating everything in sight. I gained 40 goddamn pounds. I lose weight. He says, hire a personal trainer. That's how you lose weight. So I hired a personal trainer who said, get a bicycle. Best way to lose weight. I've been riding a bike for 2 months. I gained 10 pounds. I wasted $1,500 on a personal trainer and $2,000 on an electric bike. I mean, do you believe this crap? Do you believe this crap of a pandemic? They say it was made in China. No way. No way. Nothing made in China last. And everyone's crazy during this pandemic. I have my neighbor is a nuclear physicist, and he talks about how important nuclear physicists are. 2 days into the pandemic, I see him on his stoop. He hasn't worked since March 2020. I say, Leon, what are you doing home? He says, I'm a non-essential worker. The nuclear physicist is non-essential, but the barista at Starbucks is essential. How nuts is that? I mean, this corona has another variant, Omicron, right? Omicron. This virus has more personalities than Kanye West. Sick of it already. And they say you should double mask. I'm not surprised. I always thought people were two-faced. I'm sorry. It's just nuts. I've had it, and everyone's an expert. Everyone knows the answers to all the questions. They're all experts in the sciences all of a sudden. Even like climate change. I was in a bookstore. I was in a store the other day, and the cashier asked me if I wanted a bag. I said, "Yeah, can I have a plastic bag?" She goes, "No, climate change. You need a paper bag, only paper." And she talked a lot about climate change. And I said, wow, you make a real good case. You know, can you recommend a book on climate change? And she said, wait a minute, there are books on climate change? I was an expert. They're an expert in corona, you know. My wife is a doctor. I swear I ask her all these questions about the virus. You know what she says to me? I don't know. I don't know. It's a new disease. We don't know. I'm like, what good are you? The doctor doesn't know, but the barista at Starbucks has all the answers. But she did tell me one thing, and you may want to write this down. I didn't know what type of mask to wear. Do I wear cloth mask? Do I wear N95 mask? She told me, wear a Jets mask. Jets. Because if you're wearing that, you're not catching a goddamn thing. I tell you, I mean, it's just not. And you listen, you gotta get vaccinated. I read all the articles on vaccination. I have my vaccines on the phone. All the articles. I read it all. Finally, I read something that really pushed me over the edge. I get Krispy Kreme donuts every day with my vaccination. I'm such a better parallel parker with the eyes and back of my head. Let me tell you something. What's really weird, I got boosted. In the end, I'm going to have more jabs in my arm than Amy Winehouse did. I'll tell you. But listen, I have to explain my name. I used to have a first name, but I came out recently to my family. It did not go well with June. It was Pride Month. I felt the need to come out. They did not take it well. I'm Jewish, and they flipped out. Like, what the hell's down on your head? You're gonna go to heaven and we're not? Even my wife, 26 years, she's married to me. She said to me, I don't understand. Every time you pee sitting down. Your tits are bigger than mine. Why did you come out a woman, for God's sakes? You want me to give up lobster for you? What are you, nuts? But listen, I came out after visiting Israel, the most beautiful place fighting over. Israel was fighting over. It's the size of New Jersey. Do you know what the other 49 states would say if a bunch of Jews took over New Jersey? You know what they would say? Thank you. That's what they would say. But I love being Jewish, man. But our holidays, they're whack. They're so wacky. We have this holiday of Hanukkah, and what is it? The miracle. The light was supposed to last one night. It lasted 8 nights. You call that a miracle? Keith, Richard, that's a miracle. I found a woman to marry me and have my children, and a doctor, no less. That's a miracle. No miracle about Hanukkah, 1 night, 8 nights. But listen, I just signed a big movie deal. You may not see me again. I signed a big movie deal. Superheroes are really big. They got the Black Panther, black superhero, female superhero, transgender superhero. They even have a Protestant superhero called the Wasp. I will be new Kvetch, and my superpower is I make the villains feel so guilty that they surrender. Go ahead, Johnny. Destroy the universe. See if I care. But just know you're breaking your mother's heart. Oh, look at you, Danny. Flying from planet to planet with those fancy schmancy flying machines, destroying all life forms. That you have time for, but to visit your parents, you have no time. What the hell's wrong with you? Well, like every superhero, I do have my kryptonite. Oh my God, is that a clearance sale? It's coming out this summer. Go see it. Happy New Year. Stay funny. Let's hear it for Danny. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, let's get for Goldberg. Yeah, he's been handling the pandemic pretty well, huh? Come, all right, get for Goldberg. Woo, thank you. All right, now we go back to we're gonna go bouncing back and forth from coast to coast. Now we go back to the West Coast with another funny guy, a good friend of mine who I've performed with many times, many years. Let's get for Johnny Corn. Johnny Corn, everybody. Woo.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
All right.
Before I get started, I want to point out a few things. First off, thank you, Danny. Round of applause for Danny. Bring
Yeah.
this whole thing to
Thank you,
a close.
Johnny.
Also, I will have you know that there is there's a bookcase behind me because in the middle of the pandemic, everybody was in front of their bookcase because it wouldn't look special, they wouldn't look smart. So there's that going on, man. And also, I've gotten to perform with people all over the country, but usually in person. So the nice thing about Zoom is that you get to see every person from different areas without them leaving their living room. This is fantastic. So I love you, comedians. Thank you so much. Now that I've said all that, I heard 30. I forget who said it. 30 years in a relationship. Was that Bruce? That was Bruce. Okay. Well, I've been with my wife for can anyone beat that, by the way? Before I check. Okay.
How
Well,
long you been married?
I'm sorry?
How long are you married?
Oh, me. Okay. Oh, let's talk about me. Okay. I've been married for 28 years. And my wife is, and it's been a great marriage, you know. Now, the thing is that my wife, she's proud that we've been together for 28 years, married for 28 years. So she tells people that. But she also tells people I'm 30, that she's 39. People start doing the math. Yeah, she made me into a pervert is what I'm saying. Now, does anybody here lie about their age? Just me. Okay. I tell people I'm 10 years older than I actually am, so I can get compliments, and I'll take the compliments because I'm shallow. But my real age, I'll be 53 in April, and it's a miracle that I made it that far because for several reasons. I'll get into that in a minute. But I'm going to be 53, and you know what happens when you get into your 50s? You get your AARP card. Now, that's my license to do whatever I want. I'm going to be driving down Highway 101, lane splitting with my left turn signal on in my car. And I'll be driving from San Francisco. I'll get right around to San Mateo, and they'll pull me over. And when that happens, I'll whip out my AARP card. Cop's going to look at it, look at me, look at it, look at me, look at it, look at me, and go like, drive old, that's funny. You know, you would have gotten away with this anyway because you're white, and hand the card back to me. That's kind of how I see that happening. Now, it is true. I had an aneurysm, and so I had a slightly different year in 2020 than most people. And so what happened was I was recovering, and my wife and I would binge watch, and we ran out of things to watch. So it started out with some great shows, but then it started changing. It started becoming stuff like Wives with Knives. She almost got away with it. She started writing notes. Should I have been concerned? That's on that. Now, but a little bit more about me. I went into, and this is true, I went into the Dollar Tree, which is now $1.25. I went to the Dollar Tree, and this guy comes up to me. He says, "You're John Corn." And I'm like, "Oh my God, this is fantastic. He recognizes me." There's always that one moment when someone recognizes you. And then he said, "You suck." It's a true story. So I said, "Yeah, and I blow too." And I used to be a vacuum salesman. Who thought that was a dirty joke? That actually happened. So on a other note, I was born Irish and Catholic. And as a good Catholic, they tell you have to give up something for Lent. So for 2020 and 2021, I gave up going outside.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a true Catholic that in normal times I'll go to church twice a year. Christmas and Easter, for those that are wondering. Now, I actually I loved it because I got I got the holidays off, and it didn't matter how stupid the holidays were. You're Catholic, they celebrate them, you got them off. A good example of this is Columbus Day. Let's talk about Columbus Day. He gets a holiday for getting lost. He's trying to find a spice route to India, ends up in the Caribbean, which is slightly off course, as I recall. Typical man, didn't ask directions. After all, he could have gone into any of these tech firms here in the Bay Area, and they could have told him where India was. Just saying. I want to come out with Columbus GPS. It's going to send you where you never intended to go. And obviously it'll be used by Uber. So, But you know, I have 3 older sisters, and you know what that means, hand-me-downs. So I got these like yellow corduroy pants with no fly. I got a purple Huffy with tassels and a banana seat. That's all true. It's like my parents wanted me to get beaten up. But I will tell you this. I will tell you this. I grew up, and growing up, we had this beautiful, and some of you are too young to remember this. We had this beautiful console TV made out of real wood. It was fantastic, and it didn't work, so we had a smaller TV on top of it. You know, that's the generation I'm from. You know, seatbelts were optional. Actually, they really were optional growing up. But it's funny. I have ADD, I have ADHD. You might have seen me kind of like doing this, and I'm trying to not, because I'm used to getting on stage and using the whole stage. So, you know, it's basically, I read something, like I'll read something on the phone, and then what will happen is I'll go on stage, and then it becomes part of my act. A good example of this is the maple syrup cartel. Now, who here knows that Canada has an actual maple syrup cartel? We have
So
one.
what?
Okay. No, it's a true story. They have a maple syrup cartel, and they have a, and this is true. I'm not lying about this. You can look it up on Google, but after the show, because I'm on right now. They have a maple syrup cartel, and what they have is a strategic reserve of maple syrup. Here in the United States, we have a strategic reserve of oil, which shows the difference in between Canada and the United States. Because in Canada, all they're after is just a really good breakfast. So a true story, and this is about 5 years ago. There was a there was a heist. There were thousands of barrels of maple syrup missing out of the strategic reserve. This is a true story. I'm going to repeat that. There's thousands of gallons of maple syrup missing out of the strategic reserve. So I'm thinking, like, was it like an Ocean's 11 thing where they're just like dodging lasers? Was it a, you know, and then I realized, no, they're Canadian. They just probably left the door unlocked. You know, I and I'll leave you with this in case I go a little bit over. I did have an aneurysm, so I had to relearn my entire routine. So with this, I didn't use any notes or anything. And what it taught me is that if you have a problem, if you have a medical thing, you don't know when that's going to happen. So be careful, be helpful, be kind to one another. That's the most important thing. Be kind, because you don't know what day you're going to have. What actually happened to me was I had an aneurysm while driving, and I drove my car right into a pole. Oh. Absolute true story, which is really rock and roll when you think about it. Kind of, you know, but I survived it, so that's good. I will leave you guys with this thought for the day. The best protection against identity theft is bad credit. It's true. I'm Johnny Corn. Have a great tomorrow.
Thank you, Johnny. Johnny Corn. Words of wisdom from Johnny Corn. Thank you. And yes, be kind to each other, like Johnny said. Let's hope for a better year for everybody. Thanks, Johnny. All right. So now we go all the way to the East Coast again. This next gentleman, I met him on Zoom, performed many Zoom shows with him, and also he's one of many comedians actually, or performers that were on Good Timing, a TV show on Peacock. You should check it out. It's on Peacock TV. It's the show is called Good Timing, and it's really a fun show. It's about people, senior citizens, taking comedy. So, well, you'll see on it. But anyway, let's get over to Tom Padovano, everybody. Woo.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you. Now, because of the uptick in COVID, I said, boss, can I work from home? He said, no, you're the doorman. Had a lot of crazy bosses. Had this one. If I made a mistake, she'd say, Tom, look at the mistake you made. But if she made a mistake, it was, Oh, Tom, look at the mistake we made. So I said, well, boss, look at the ugly dress we're wearing. I got fired. And I hate going on interviews. I went on one. They said, Tom, this job pays $1,000 a week, but in 6 months, it goes to $2,000 a week. I said, great. I'll come back in 6 months. And I come from a poor family, but let me tell you something. Every night, my mother had food on the table. I wish we had plates. It wasn't easy. When I was 7, I said, Mom, am I adopted? Not yet, but I'm working on it. Then I remember once saying, Mommy, I wanted a toy truck for Christmas. I didn't get one. I'm upset. She goes, shut up. You're 40 years old. And I was a stupid kid, I'll admit that. Always getting left back. Do you know any other kid in 3rd grade excused for jury duty? So embarrassing. My teacher made my parents write on the blackboard 100 times, we won't have more children. And now I have this terrible apartment. It has bugs. And the other day, I ran out of Raid. So I sprayed a cockroach with lemon pledge. It died, but had a great shiny finish. It was exciting for me. Yeah, and now I'm having trouble with my 20-year-old. Smoking, won't stop smoking. My 20-year-old's my car. Terrible. And I haven't been feeling well. So I went to my doctor, Dr. Julio Alejandro Bernstein. Oh, this guy's amazing. He examined me for only 5 minutes, but insisted I come back the next morning for an autopsy. Well, he got mad at me. I said, Doctor, it hurts me when I touch here, hurts me when I touch here, hurts me when I touch here. He goes, idiot, you got a broken finger. Oh, and I feel sorry for my neighbor. Her doctor said, Mrs. Sicko, you only have 10 to live. She goes, what do you mean? 10 years? 10 months? He said 10, 9, 8, 7. Oh, that's terrible, you know. But you know what? I have trouble with insomnia. So what I do now is I count sheep. Then I grab one and knit a sweater. That gets me tired, you know. Oh, but listen, you know, because of the supply chain problem, I already ordered a Valentine's Day gift for my girlfriend. Now I have to order a girlfriend. They're backlogged, you know, well, because my girlfriend dumped me, but I wasn't surprised. A couple of days before she did, I said, honey, while you were dating me, were you dating other men? She goes, Tom, come on. You're the 5th guy to ask me that today. Oh, the other day I went to this club. I said, hey, babe, what's your sign? Cape off. I was talking to this one woman. She says she wants to date at least 10 men at the same time. I said, I'm not into that. I'm monotonous. Told her off. Oh, this other woman said she wants to date a man comfortable in his own skin. I said, forget me. I have psoriasis. And then, believe it or not, she was itching to leave. So it's terrible. But I do remember my first love. Yes, I remember saying to her, oh, Hortense, I know I'm not as smart as Johnny. I'm not as handsome as Johnny. And I don't make as much money as Johnny. But Hortense, I will love you forever. And she said, oh, Tom, that is so sweet. But tell me more about Johnny. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'll end up getting married someday. I went to this wedding, half Italian, half Jewish. Everything at this Italian Jewish wedding was done 50-50. Even the songs. Hava, you mother, Hava, you mother. I mean, everything was done 50-50, like they made the men wear yarmulkes. But on the yarmulkes was an ad for Vito's Pizza. And you know, at a Jewish ceremony, the groom steps on the glass. Here, the groom was Italian. He shot it. But you know, I don't think it's going to work out for this newly married couple, because on top of the wedding cake, they had 3 figures. 3. The bride, the groom, and the bride's attorney. Doesn't look good. Well, listen, you've been a wonderful audience, and I sincerely hope that you've had as much fun and pleasure as I've had tension and emotional strain. Oh, don't worry about me. I'm going to call my parole officer now and ask him if I could use the 7 minutes that I performed on this show tonight toward my community service.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah. Woo. Thank you. Tom Palomino there. Woo. Well, I hope you at least had fun at the wedding. You know. So yeah. This I'll write you in for the community service. I'll give you credit for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom. All right. Our last comedian, coming back to the West Coast again, our last comedian, formerly from the Bay Area, now living in Portland, Maine, is it? No, Portland, Oregon. Yeah, I know. And she has her own podcast. You're on mute, by the way. And she has her own podcast, and very funny, very happy to see her again after a couple of years. Well, probably a little bit more. But hey, let's get for Veronica Porras, everybody. Big hand for Veronica.
Oh my God. Thank you. Give it a round of applause to all the comics you've seen tonight. Tom,
Yeah.
Johnny, Goldberg, Gail, Bruce. I logged in late. I apologize. Iris and forgot her name. She was just here. I guess she's off.
Let's see.
Davine.
This is like a comedy reunion at like Johnny, so good to see you. Gail, awesome. And for the first time meeting Bruce, Goldberg, and Tom. Hi. I don't know what's worse, like having like an anti-vaxxer, or just having a family member who's hyper aware on COVID. Like I got a brother, we're roommates, we've been sheltering in place for the last since pandemic started, and he's an inventor and a scientist, and he's like hyper ultra, like picture an anti-vaxxer, but picture an anti-vaxxer who believes in science and needs me to log in every day to the John Hopkins COVID-19 dashboard so I could study the graphs and make a plan. He's like, did you see the COVID dashboard? Did you see it? You got to look at the numbers. You need to analyze. Can you come up with some ideas? Like, I don't know. This pandemic has like melted my brain. I have a bachelor's in finance. I don't know how to read graphs anymore. So he's like, yeah, right, Gail? So
Right.
I look at this graph of death, just like millions of people dying all across the world. He's like, what, did you see it? Did you see the graph? What do you think? I'm like, a lot of people have died. I don't understand what I'm looking at. And That's basically what I've been living with for the last 2.5 years. Like a roommate who's hyper science, Mr. Science, hyper science, which I think is it's also good, but it's also like very stressful to just like, I get it. I'm vaxxed, you wear the fucking mask, and then I move on with my day. I don't visit people. I don't go to concerts. I just do my supply run and then I go home. You know how hard I'm a 100% work from home, and that was hard to even. I went through 2 layoffs this pandemic. I have a job now, but during being laid off in a pandemic is terrifying because employers don't believe in science.
They don't.
They don't, and employers are like, well, you could come in. I'm like, I'm an accountant. I don't need to go in the office. And everyone goes into the office sick. Like even before pandemic, I would go in the office. I would get sick like every 6 months with like a cold. And even if it's just a cold, it takes me out. It takes me like 2 weeks to recover. And sick leave isn't in sync with the natural process on getting well. And the longer I'm in this pandemic, it's just unveiling capitalism at its finest. Your employers don't give a fuck about you. They don't. This government doesn't care about you at all. And it's not Democrats and Republicans don't care about you either. That's what I learned. I've done a lot of changes. I've left the Democratic Party like an abusive boyfriend, thinking I'll go back to him, thinking things will be different this time. And as a person who's been in recovery for 16 years, I'm like, yeah, fuck you. I'm independent now. And so many changes have happened. My comedy has changed. I don't give a fuck anymore. I have a podcast where I talk about tough shit on a budget. And I'm single. I know some of my comedian friends on this show have been married like over 20 years, and I don't know what that is. I'm all about drive-by relationships, and maybe that's unhealthy for me. I'm trying to establish authentic connections with people and not run away from intimacy. And I would love Gail to be my therapist.
Okay.
I'm actually in the market for a therapist. It's like, fuck, like I know you're a marriage and sex like therapist, but do you ever counsel perpetually single people?
I think that I've seen most everything, but I have had so many surgeries that I have no will to work anymore, except maybe write something on Gail Jones, Southern Sex Therapist comedy every now and then. But if you just wanted to call me and talk, we could do that. I'm no longer licensed. I didn't renew my license.
Well, that's okay. We could talk. And yeah.
You're my Facebook friend, right?
Yeah, we're friends.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, we're in a pandemic. Do licenses even matter at this point? It's like, it's the end of the world. And like, that's what's so funny. It's like fucking people are dying like in the thousands every day. And the pettiness is out of control. It's like, okay, Gail's not, thanks, Danny. Gail's not licensed. And like, I don't give a fuck. It's like, people are dying. Like, I need to talk to someone, because being single in this pandemic where I have no one, and it just makes me like want to like crumble. And that's what some petty person's gonna be like, well, are you licensed? Are you certified? It's like, who gives a shit? People are dying. People need to connect. The isolation is crippling. Shut up.
We can be friends. I just won't be your therapist.
Okay. Yeah, we could be friends.
We'll be girlfriends.
Yeah.
Women friends.
I am down. I am down with that. So on that note, what I gotta leave you YouTubers with some encouragement. Maybe for once, for the people on YouTube, if you're one of those YouTube commenters that just have to like, shit, if you don't like a video, just don't click on it. So yeah, I do have a podcast. Check me out on Poor Ass Podcast, vcomedy.com. I've interviewed like comedians, normal people. We just talk about tough shit on a budget, living sustainably on living abundantly while on a budget. That podcast was inspired from the 2008 financial crisis, when I went through like 10 years of a personal financial crisis, almost lost my apartment. So that experience it was the inspiration for Poor Ass Podcast. And I make fun of my name because poor ass podcast. So that's where that comes from. Yeah. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Okay, Gail.
Yeah. All right, Veronica.
I was married.
Check out her podcast, and let me try and get the. I'm having trouble with the. Let's find it. Okay. Oh, here we go. All righty. And yeah, I was going to mention something about that. So, Veronica, she also interviews comedians and normal people. So
she's so pretty.
That's great.
That's pretty
great. And I guess, Gail, you have a new customer. So great.
I've never been normal. Sorry.
Yeah, it's funner that way.
It totally is, man. And let me say, all the comedians today were fantastic, man.
Yeah, it was a great show. Yeah, thanks, Shai. Thank you all. It was a great show. Thank you all for coming out here. We're here every first Friday for audience. We're here every first Friday of the month. And yeah, thanks so much, comedians. Come on, audience, give a big hand to all the comedians who performed for you tonight. Yeah.
First Friday of the year.
Yeah, that's right. We just started. Oh, the first Friday, first Friday of the year. So yeah, I'm Danny Detchi, and you can actually check out this video here. Go to Danny Detchi's YouTube channel, and you can find the video in case you don't have it, and you can see the show anytime, as long as YouTube exists. You can watch this show. So on go to Danny Detchi YouTube channel or my Facebook timeline. It's right there. So thank you, comedians. Stay safe and Happy New Year to all. And so see you around. Maybe just some of the live shows. Yeah. All right, everybody. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Night,
Thank
everybody.
you,
Night,
Daddy.
all.
Good night, everyone.
Bless you.
Bye.
Have a great tomorrow, and it's great to see the people I knew, and it's great to meet the people that I just met.